And of course, we're going to talk about the NHL draft. The first round went last night.
With TSN Bar Down's Eric Kirk, he joins us once again. Eric, it's been a while. Good to see you again. So before we get into the top three picks, let's start with the Leafs and who they signed.
Yeah, they went a little off the board, in my opinion, and went out and grabbed Easton Cowan from the London Knights. Easton had a phenomenal second half of the season, but this is really his first full OHL season under his belt. Usually players have at least two by the time they become first-round picks, but the Leafs loved what they saw. The second half of the season he put together was one of the best in the OHL. He's one of the biggest reasons that the London Knights almost made it to the Memorial Cup final. And really, he had 21 points in 20 playoff games. That was enough for the Leafs to take the very skilled forward at 28.
A playoff performer would come in handy for the Leafs, no doubt about that, Eric. In the meantime, this was like the no-brainer slam dunk that the NBA had. Everyone knew Wembanyama was going to be number one. Connor Bedard was a lock last night.
Yeah, the Chicago Blackhawks really shocked nobody and went out and got one of the best prospects we've seen since McDavid, since Sidney Crosby. He's the biggest no-brainer that you get in sports. He had over 140 points in 57 games in his final season with the St. Pats. He dominated the World Juniors like we haven't seen in years. He's really the full package. He's got one of the best shots I've ever seen. He can see the ice so well. Connor Bedard, the Chicago Blackhawks have a great one.
Yeah, I kind of wish that Connor Bedard was with the Leafs. But turning to the number 2 pick, Anaheim Ducks, they used that to pick Leo Carlsson.
Yeah, which I was honestly surprised they didn't go with Adam Fantilli. He's the more skilled player of the two, but Carlson's a big body center who can really make his own space, and he moves the puck well. So they're getting a great player regardless. I was just a little shocked to not see Fantilli go here. The Ducks, they're in a state right now where they're kind of building players for their roster, so maybe Carlsson fits it a little better in the site that they have the skill with Trevor Zegras, and they have these players that they already have. So Carlsson fits in like a glove, and we'll see really how the Ducks do this upcoming season. They were the last place team last season, so it's only up from there.
Yeah, it's interesting, is that sometimes it's more about what the team needs versus necessarily what the overall scouting reports are on these various players. And of course, Eric, Fantilli goes third, drafted overall by Columbus. It'll be interesting. I always love watching this, the first-round draft picks as they enter the NHL in a year or two's time, the kind of competition between the Fantillis and the Carlsons, things like that, as we see like who actually ultimately performs better once they make the league.
Exactly.
Yeah, and Fantilli, a great player in his own. Who knows if he'll be in the league this year, but once he comes up to this Blue Jackets roster, they will have a phenomenal roster. They've got Gaudreau, they've got Line A. They've got really, they're building a great core there in Columbus. Once they shore up that blue line and figure out their goaltending, watch out for the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Yeah, it's a good point that you make, Nick, because just watching that movie Air, I mean, Michael Jordan, he was what, like the 5th overall
That's right,
pick?
yes, yeah,
and
when you think about
look
who
at where
went,
he is today, so it's never kind of set in stone. But Connor Bedard, pretty amazing. Okay, TSN Bar Down's Eric Kirk, always a pleasure. Thanks.
Take care,
Thank you,
Eric.
guys.